Awesome. Yay. Okay, let's take a few deep breaths together. This is we're standing on our mat. Inhale through nose, exhale out mouth. Let's do that a couple more times, maybe turning the arms and the palms to face forward as we inhale through nose, exhale mouth. And as you keep flowing through that breath a couple more times, maybe even a pursed lip breath comes in, inhale through nose, pursing the lips and blowing the air out the lips. You'll feel the exhalation extend. So, a lot of us know whenever we lengthen the exhale longer than the inhale, it's going to help to take the nervous system and slowly slow it down, regulate us into more of a state of well being. You might even pick up your toes and spread them for a moment. I'm just going to walk through the studio and just take down my music a tiny bit. Good. And as the breath slowly transitions from in the nose and out the mouth, when it's ready to in and out of the nose, you just let that happen. Ah. Sometimes the body calls for a little bit, instead of the arms out to the side, hands on belly or hands on heart or hands on belly and heart. So just notice if the body calls for a little bit of compassionate touch for a moment. Hmm. And just feeling all the weight in the toes for a moment. And just notice which toes are not pressing into the floor. We're also talking about not only rooting the toes, but just softly imagining like you're going to very gently pick up the mat so the toes kind of grip into the floor a little bit and softly bend the knees. And notice the heels, the whole rim of the heel, the very center of the heel, root into the floor as you grasp the toes very gently. Just feel how the legs start to activate. The muscles, how the fascia allows you to feel a connection all the way up into your pelvis. And then we can notice this lower belly, this lower transverse. So some of us might feel, oh, I can lift the pubic bone up, or I can lift the lower belly up and drop back and maybe in. You might think of sit bones reaching down. And not so much that you're clenching the buttocks, but we want to try to keep the sit bones wide. So you feel a spreading across back body. There's a spreading and a wrapping. So you might even feel an SH breath. Shh. And that will pull the left and right side of the transverse abdominis into the linea alba, that ligament. So just notice, do you feel that drawing in, but also a lifting up? Maybe try it one more time. And then that lifting up comes all the way up the top of the head. So we feel it down, we feel it up, we feel it out, and we feel it in. So this is feeling our whole body. And this concept, an anatomical concept, is called biotensegrity. So noticing the body as a whole, where it's evenly having tension and compression. Okay, so you're gonna let the eyes open, hands can release if they want. You're gonna feel which foot wants to start the foot rolling first. Kind of check in and see, maybe there's one hip that feels a little bit more sensitive today. So maybe you start on that side. So you're going to press down through the foot. That's the standing foot. Tug on the toes, root through the heel. And notice that you're not jutting your hip out. So you might even feel as you exhale, pulling the flesh and the muscles of the hip bones towards the belly button. The other heel starts to lift. And as you keep pressing down, keep lifting in and up, you'll feel that leg starting to lift. Some of you can bounce a little bit. Some of you can kick a ball in space. We're also talking about last week, noticing whatever leg you've lifted, notice, am I hiking my hip? Try to drop it down. And then you'll start to roll. Just doing a little bit of proprioception to arrive in body to start. Just rolling from toes to heel. There you go. This must feel good after all that walking and exploring, right? Mm. Okay, and then as you roll from toes to heel, you can start to explore. Is there a spot in the foot that's calling to you? Maybe it's a little bit more in the inner arch. Some of you might roll the outside of the foot, so from pinky to outer heel, or big toe to inner heel. Good. You might even compress and find a spot where you just lean into the ball or the dowel and then release on the inhale. So the exhale can be the lean, the inhale can be the release. You can also do a little bit of leaning, which we call compression in the fascial release, and then do what we call a little bit of spin. So you spin the foot. This is taking the superficial fascia and wringing it out and kind of moving it past its natural range of motion. So it helps to create a little bit of shearing effect between the superficial, the skin, and the deep fascia, which wraps around the muscles. Not bad. So it creates hydration. Mm. And take your time. If your other leg is going, I need you to transition sooner. My leg was asking me to pause and transition. So you can go from side to side multiple times. You can switch when you need to. You can always go back to that first foot at any time. But whenever you're ready to pause, I want you just to feel the difference between the foot that you rolled and the foot that you haven't. Maybe it's an exhale at the mouth. Yeah. And then you root down through the foot that you just rolled, tugging on the toes, pressing the heel, lifting up through the lower belly, in and up, wrapping that transverse abdominis around so there's a widening of the sit bone. And then in time, as you press down, the leg will come up, hips are level. I can feel this one side's a little bit more challenging today for me to balance. I'm just noticing that. Thinking about just getting reminded that the full moon, right, is I think it's Thursday. Is it Thursday, Mom? Yeah. So always when the full moon is kind of around it, take note, right? Because we do kind of sometimes feel a little bit more emotional, and then sometimes we lose touch with our body, right? Because we get affected by the moon and it pulls on all the water. So we can lose sense of grounding and embodiment of really feeling our body. So sometimes I'll notice if I'm not grounding into body, I can like run into things, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I need to ground. Okay, so just take note of that. As we pull into water, our emotional center that governs water is in the pelvis. So sometimes even around the full moon, we can feel more hip stuff. So hence why we're doing a little bit of pelvic kind of release this week. And then check in. Do you want to stand on the ball? Do you want to stand on the dowel? Maybe let the toes hang over. Do a little compression. Hmm. Feel a few breaths. Good. And you take your time, just check in. Does your first foot call for you to go back to it? Do you need a little bit more rolling on one of your feet to complete? Some of you might even take some time to pump into the heel or stand onto the dowel with both your heel bones, if that's yours, to explore. Okay, so myofascially, muscles and fascia. When we root through the heels, we connect through all the muscles and fascia, not only through the sole of the foot, but the calf, the hamstring, into the sit bones, all the way up into the back body, connecting in through the neck. And toes connect more muscles and fascia all the way through the front body. Once you come out, just notice how you feel. And we're going to just move the dowel and the ball off to the side once we're done, just so we don't have any tripping hazards on our mat. No rush. And we're going to just do a little bit of fascia release just before we do our forward fold. So just a little bit of swinging, hopping, movement, shaking, just to get the fascia and the lymph moving. So just let your body have its movement. So sometimes the arms want to swing a little bit more. You might even feel them forward and back. Sometimes the heels lift and there's just a drop down. So you feel the vibration, which helps with proprioception and coming into the body, reverberate up through the feet. Oh, just let that flow in, whatever wants to come in. Uh, Once it's done, there's no rush. I'm just going to let it settle and then feel your feet again. I just turned sideways just for a visual, but you can stay facing forward. We're going to take this into a forward fold. So we're going to tug on toes, root through heels. Exhale, let the pelvis release back. Keep sit bones wide. Okay, and just come into a right angle. Exhale, you might bring in an SH breath. So you feel the belly and the sides of the transverse wrap around, and there's a little pulling in through front body. Once you come into your right angle, reach some energy out the spine and the top of the head forward and the sit bones back. And then you can swing and dangle and circle the arms in the air. Wiggle the fingers and the thumbs a little bit so that the fingers are soft. And create some space up through the arms, all the way into the shoulder girdle and the heart. And if you want to go a little bit farther, you can. If you're feeling body doesn't want to go very far into an inversion, you can just rest forearms on thighs. But if you do want to go farther, you can lift sit bones up and then roll forward from the pelvis through the spine. Notice if arms want to be on the floor, maybe hands are touching, maybe they're just hanging. You can also sway a little bit from left to right. This will kind of wrap around the leg and go into the back to the side of the leg. Some of you might fold and right hand hold left elbow, left hand hold right. So one of the things with fascia is to do this multi-directional stretching, which is part of a lot of the new research coming in. Hmm. Let the head go. If you do, go all the way down. And you'll notice when you feel ready to come up, bend your knees quite significantly and allow the pelvis to sit back and down. So you're going into a chair pose. And then you can keep your buttocks nice and heavy as you just lift torso. Some of you will lift arms. We'll just feel chair pose for a moment. Tug on all the toes. Press and root, inner heel, outer heel. Good. Take two more breaths. We're just helping to engage the legs to encourage the blood to flow back up to the heart. And then as we reach up, as you press down, reach up, and then release. We're just going to go into a few swinging twists. You might have done them already, but just revisit them. Maybe a little tapping as you swing. Arms can be low, they can rise up. Hmm. When we tap, we connect into receptors in the fascia. They're called the Pacinian receptors, and they help us propriocept, so they help us feel our body. And we can notice, oh, there's my arm swinging in space. And then when you notice your limbs moving, it brings you back into body. Good. We'll slowly slow that down. And we're going to reach right arm up. Now, you have a choice. If it feels okay, you can grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And then just soften your rib cage in a little bit and down. And then as you exhale, you're going to lean over. Good. Just feel the feet pressing down. And then we're going to roll down a little bit forward. That could be an exhale. And then you're going to inhale and you're going to open up a little bit back. Good. And just go back and forth a few times. Okay, this is the multi-directional stretching. Keep the sit bones wide. And then if you want, you might even circle down and then switch. Right hand can hold left wrist and you come up. Yeah, just make this your own. You might go forward and back a couple times. Yeah, good. And then just see, when do you want to travel across? Other option, you can always interlace fingers and press out through the fingers as well. Sometimes when I interlace fingers, I like to press forward and then press back as well to get into shoulder blades. Just taking a little bit of time here. Just listen how your body wants to move. You have autonomy over what feels good for you. There's no kind of right or wrong way here. It's just an exploration. Ah, take your time. Good. You'll feel when that is complete. So just let it kind of dissolve the movement on its own. And we're just going to get a tiny bit more into shoulder blades in a moment. So once you let that go, just stand. And then you're going to turn palms to face forward. And the movement comes from lifting up through pubic bone. So you're going to lift pubic bone, lower belly, upper belly, heart, chest, throat. Maybe gaze looks forward. And then you're going to exhale. You're going to reach sit bones down. You're going to round through lower back, middle back, shoulder blades. Arms can come forward. Relax the head. And you're going to go back and forth. So you're going to inhale. Lift pubic bone as the arms open, belly, upper belly, heart, chest, throat. And then as you exhale, allow the movement of the sit bones down, back around. So just doing like a spinal wave, standing, just flow back and forth. Start from your pelvis, feet to pelvis to spine to neck to head. So feet root down. Keep the thighs rolling in softly as you go forward. And just see one or two more times. And then pause. Notice if the shoulders want to roll around a little bit. Sometimes the head wants to just lower the chin to the chest and maybe ear to shoulder. Yeah. So we're going to transition now to the floor because I want to do some stuff seated to release the pelvis. So we're going to leave out a couple of our standing things and just come and find the top part of our mat. Good. Check in. Arms maybe face forward, gaze forward. Feel a few breaths. Notice your toes tugging your heel. Yeah, soften the knees just a little bit so you're not locking them. You're trying to keep fluid. We want to keep the joints nice and open and spacious. So as the hands come to touch at heart center, palm to palm, inhale. As you exhale, release arms down by your legs. Let the knees bend. Press the feet into the floor. As you inhale, let the arms rise up. Maybe gaze follows, your choice. As you exhale, weight shifts back on the heels to let the pelvis reach back. The torso comes down into your forward fold. Then you come back into the toes. So you feel toes and heels. Just feel your forward fold. Hmm. Now you're going to bend the knees as much as you need to get the hands onto the mat in front of the feet, nice and wide, so the width of the mat. And then you're going to step back with one foot, nice big step into downward dog. Your inverted V, the other one. And then you're going to just take a moment to maybe let the knees bend and walk it out. So feel the whole leg lengthening. So you can feel the back of the thigh and the calf reaching towards the wall behind you. Some of you can even feel your sit bone reach up towards the ceiling. All the fingers and the thumbs are pressing the ground away. So there's quite a strong action through hands and arms. There you go. Good. You're going to come down when you're ready. Yeah, take a moment. Maybe you widen your knees a little bit more. Maybe the toes, the big toes come together. You might even feel you want to sink your hips back or stay high. You choose. You can walk arms over to one side. Good. And you can walk over to the other. And go through center. Take your time here. As you feel yourself in center, just take another breath or two. And we're going to come and we're going to just come up and we're going to roll over onto one side. So we're seated, swing the legs around, and then you're going to grab, for those of us that have an inflated ball, or you're going to grab your foam roller here. Okay, so inflated. So, and I'm just going to turn sideways just so you can see. So you might just lean over onto one hip, pop the ball under, and come sit on top. Some of you can also put the ball behind you and roll up on top. Okay, so whatever you choose. Yeah, there you go. So knees are bent, feet are on the floor. You can use hands. Some of you I know can just touch legs, so you choose. Yeah, see if you can bend your knees. There you go. Good. And now we're just releasing pelvic floor. Ah, you got it. Good. So we're just going to roll around. So it might be a little bit of right to left. Uh-huh. Might be forward and back. Hmm. Yeah, good. And then you might even feel, oh, there's a little bit in one hip, right? So you might lean over. So I'm kind of leaning over onto left hand, left hip a little bit more. So I can feel, oh, my left hip wants a little bit of a release. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'll help to open it up, right? Especially because the slow-mo balls, they have a certain texture on them that are specifically, they kind of grab and like open the fascia. And so what we're doing is just slowly allowing a little bit of release there, right? So anytime you feel any nervy sensation, come off, okay? Adjust. Okay, and then you can go to the other side. You can even feel, I'm going to move a tiny bit forward because I'm hitting my props behind me. You can even feel, we'll go sideways, the slow-mo ball rolling to the bottom of the pelvis, so sit bones, and then into the upper thighs, so the start of the hamstring. So just taking some time here. We have part of our hip muscles. It's called your obturator internus, which means internal, right? So it goes from your pelvic floor and then it pops out to the side of your hip. It's part of your one of your side core abductor muscles. So we're helping to release and open and bring some spaciousness in the pelvis to hopefully bring a little bit of space into the hips. Okay, good. Aha. Yeah, good. So just take your time to explore here. And at some point, you may even feel, okay, and I'll do this from the side, that you want to roll a little bit more forward and even just sit on the floor. So what my sit bones are on the floor, but I still have the ball behind me. Yeah. And so you come right down onto the floor. There you are. Yeah, right? And there it is. Now, how do you feel sitting there? A little bit better? Yeah, because I know sometimes sitting here, right, with hips. So see, do feet want to come together? You can have them close to you. That's going to release inner thigh. You can bring them away from you. That's going to release outer hips. Good. And so the ball just kind of does a really nice job of lifting your pelvis for you. So one of the things you do not need to come forward. Okay, so if you feel my body goes, oh, I want to keep rolling, then you can go back into rolling. But if you do want to come forward, you want to take the pelvis forward. So you can see I'm not rounding the spine. I'm allowing my pelvic, the bowl of the pelvis, to transition forward. There it is. And then you'll only go so far, right? And you'll hit a stop. And then you can keep the spine reaching through. Some of you might feel a little bit of release that you want to come in. Hands can be on the feet, they can come out to the side. Yeah, good. Breathe. And we're just opening the hips a little bit. Good. Yeah. There's nowhere to go. Some of you might even feel a little pressing of the feet. Oh, that feels good as you press toes and heels into each other. Good. Take a few deep breaths. Just going to be here for another one or two more rounds. And then you feel pelvis start to lift. And then you're just going to check in. Oh, as you bring the legs up, is there any more rolling that wants to come in? So just come in one last time just to see. And you're just going to let that roll. And then you're just going to roll off. And I just want you to take note how you feel. Just come right on the floor. Legs can be extended. Just notice, is there a little bit of a difference? Yeah, right. So little tool, right, for releasing pelvis. I thought I'd bring in some pelvic floor and kind of continue on our hip work that we started last week. That feels different. There's a little bit more space in that hip, right? Yeah, good. Okay, so, okay, yeah. So since we're seated, let's just take a moment because we're going to go down and we're going to do part of our flow. But I want you just to grab either you're using your hand or you're using a dowel. I just want you to take a moment, and I'll turn around for this, to just tap. So you can sit however you want. Just tap through shoulder blade. Okay, so you're not tapping on spine. Just tapping on the top of the shoulder. Okay, really good for the lungs. You can go through the lower back. So getting into the thoracolumbar fascia, excuse me, that comes off your lats and it goes all the way into your sacrum. So you can tap on the sacrum bone because it is a fused bone. It's a little bit different. Yeah, and some of you may even feel, oh, I want to tap the front of the chest. So you want to go below collarbone. You can turn your head a little bit towards the right or the left or up and down. You can even tap down through the arm, going through the tricep, the bicep. Avoiding elbow. And then you want to be very gentle as you get to the wrist because it starts to get really soft and not a lot of flesh and adipose tissue there. You can even roll the dowel in between the hands or the ball. Some of us also like to just roll it on the floor, and you can go into the forearms. You can do this with a ball too. So just kind of checking in. You can do palm up and palm down. Good. Yeah. Mhm. Some of us may notice, oh, there's a little bit of holding in parts of my hand and in parts of my muscles and the forearm. Oh, good. Nice. We're just doing a little myofascial release for arms as they were asking for it because we're doing so much on the hips. So the arms and are going, hey, wait a second. Yeah, good. So just take your time. This is really good for the immune system. And then you'll feel once you're done with upper body and hands, you can just roll down for a moment. Find floor. Take a moment to see how you feel as you transition onto the floor. Your legs may bend with feet on the floor, and the legs may offer a little bit of movement of wipering from side to side. Some of us may want to draw the legs up into the chest, either whole shins or back of the thighs. Maybe rock from left to right on the pelvis, the lower back. Take a few breaths, maybe one or two or three of them, release out your mouth just to orientate body now closer to earth. Ah. Good. And we're now going to release legs a little bit more with the tapping. And so sometimes, bless you, sometimes the pelvis likes a little bit of height. So some of you might put a bolster underneath you. You might put a block or a folded blanket. I'm just going to do one of the chip foam blocks. Yours has a black cover on it, so I just have the green one just for it's easier to see. Okay, you can have a bolster. And then you're just going to draw one leg up and towards you, the other leg up and towards you, and then just allow the shins and feet to lengthen up. And then you're going to take your dowel, you can also use your hands, and you're going to tap. So we're going to start at ankle. Okay, so above the ankle bone, so we're not tapping on the bony structures, and you're going to go from ankle all the way through the shin up to below the knee, so avoiding the tibia, the shin bone. You can go on the other side of the ankle, the calf as well. You can also take your dowel, hey, and put a little bit of pressure on the ankle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to keep that pressure very soft and consistent. And then you're going to drag the dowel with the pressure along your shin, your calf, to below the knee. This is called plowing. So it's really good for flushing out the tissue of stagnation. Sometimes, if we have excess pooling of retention, water retention, or edema in the legs, this is really great. You might even feel a little bit of bunching or adhesions or stuckness in the fascia. And so you can kind of just hover in that area and maybe you go back and forth a little bit. So plowing is one continuous direction. You're going to hold the pressure towards the heart. And if you do combing, then you can add continuous pressure and just go up and down in one area. Okay, so you're going to go through calves. This is really great for releasing any kind of holding through muscles and fascia that could be from an injury. It could also be that it's been walking or overusing the body. So you can go in between tapping and then that plowing, where we're doing continuous pressure towards the heart, and then we release the pressure, and then you start over again. Really good for flushing out waste in the tissue or lactic acid. So it's a really good one at the end of the day as well, or after exercise. Good. You can move into your quads at any time. You might even feel as you're tapping quads, oh, my feet want to go on the floor. Or one leg comes up and you can put that ankle. I've got my right ankle on my left thigh, and you might come into a figure four. Hold that for a few breaths. Might bring the leg up or interlace the hands and hold the back of the thigh, or you can bring the dowel behind the back of the leg. And then you can do a little plowing from just above behind the knee up through the hamstring all the way to the pelvis, the sit bone. So there's holding for some of us in the hamstring or a little bit of congestion. And this can affect a little bit more tugging on the nerves. It can also, yeah, create tugging on the pelvis, on the knees. Can go into the side of the leg, into the iliotibial band, which is a little bit more tough, kind of fibrous fascia. Some of us know it's deep fascia. Okay, so just wanting to release the legs of holding, all reflective of what's happening in pelvis. Yes, you take your time here. You can even go on the outside and the inside of the knees with a little bit of a plowing. Feels really good. That's very soft pressure here. You might even shake it, shake it, shake the legs, shake the arms in the air. So you're done at any time. Do a few ankle and wrist circles in the air. If you're still tapping or combing, plowing, you feel free. If you're done and you just want to shake it or do some ankle and wrist circles, feel free. So just checking in now, how things are moving, go both directions, feel your breath. Good. And because we've got a little bit of height underneath our pelvis, we're going to do scissors. And we're going to just start with the very first pose, which is canoe. So you're going to let your dowel be down. And some of you may even put a little bit of support in between the inner thighs of something to hold. So I've taken my inflated slow-mo ball and just put it in between thighs so you can squeeze. So we want to try to activate the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, and then feel that inner lift and maybe even that SH breath of the transverse abdominis. Okay, little bend of knees, little bend of elbows. And you can have your arms in the air, palms facing one another. Some of you might touch your thumbs, your index, your middle, your ring, your pinky into each other. So it's called Hakini Mudra. And then as you exhale, you're going to move arms and legs away from one another. So that means arms overhead, legs start to move down. Don't go too far. And then you can inhale, exhale, lift up through the abdominals to bring arms and legs back together. Use the SH breath. Watch that you're not overarching your lower back. So you're only going as far as you can where you can keep the pelvis heavy on the block, bolster, the shoulder blades anchored into the floor, and the ribs below the shoulder blades are nice and full. And some of you can feel them touching the ground. Yeah, a couple more. Mhm. Nice. Keep squeezing the ball or the block. Okay, then you're going to take the ball or the block out from in between the thighs. You're going to shake out arms and legs in the air. There you go. Now we're going to do little bend to elbows, little bend to knees. Some of you can do a little bit more of a bend if you need to. Now lift up through lower belly, do an SH breath so you feel the back body wrapping around. And there's a little kind of pulling and drawing in, and you want to keep your connection there. As you move right arm, right leg towards the head and the torso, left arm, left leg is going to lower down towards the floor. It's not going to touch though. And then you're going to pull up through the core to bring arms and legs towards one another. Then left arm, left leg is going to reach up and overhead. Right arm, right leg is going to lower down to the floor. Yeah, good. Then you're going to switch. Right arm, right leg up. Left arm, left leg down. Good. This is scissors. So you keep a slight bend to the knee and you try not to go into bend, lengthen, bend, lengthen. So you keep a slight bend and then you just move the arms and legs in space without kind of changing the knee bend. Good. Yeah, different. Now let's switch it as you pause, arms and legs in the air. Right hand's going to touch left leg, a shin. Okay? And then your left arm is going to reach up towards your skull, your head. Your right arm is going to lower down. Then you're going to switch. So your right arm is going to go up, your left leg is going to come down, and the left hand is going to come to touch the right leg that comes together. There you go. And then you switch. Right hand touches left leg, left arm up, right leg down. And then you switch. Left hand touches right leg, right arm up, left leg down. Beautiful. Use your SH breath when you're ready. Right arm, left leg touching, left arm up, right leg down. And switch. Left hand touching right leg, right arm up, left arm down. Yeah, you got it. Good. Nice, Rebecca. Couple more. Opposite hand and leg moving together. See if you can keep an inner lift. You feel your abdominals working the whole time. It's hard to talk for me sometimes and keep connected. Okay, so pause, shake it all out. We're going to lower feet to the floor. Lift up your block, your bolster, take it out. Ah. So we did a whole bunch of linear movement. So now we're going to do a little twist, and this is our core twist. So some of you I know like to take a ball or a block in between thumbs. Other option here is to keep the feet hip width apart. You might even take your 4-inch block, which is optional. And as you exhale and you squeeze the inner thighs together and you bring the legs up, you might even pop the other block in between your feet. So the sides of the big toes and the heels are leaning into the block. And then your inner thighs are squeezing the ball. Okay, arms come up. And just feel that you're holding a big ball in the hand. Some of you who have the long dowel, you might even hold the dowel in the palm of the hands. Okay, so each palm of the hand pressing into each end of the dowel. That's another option to keep the torso nice and solid. Now, shoulder blades stay heavy, and you're going to keep the thighs as close as you can towards the belly as the legs go to the left, arms are going to go to the right. That's your exhale. Then you inhale, arms and legs meet into center. And then as you exhale, you might reach through the heels as the legs go to the right, arms to the left. Good. Inhale to center, arms and legs meet in the middle. As you exhale, reach through the heels, squeeze the ball, the block as the legs go to the left, arms to the right. And then they meet into center. Beautiful. See, does my head want to turn with the legs? Or maybe the head gently wants to follow the arms. So traditionally it's with the legs, but sometimes it wants to do opposite. So I always like to give that option. God, you've got it. One or two more times. If you want to expand it, when you come to the side, you can extend the legs and the feet, sorry, in the air like you're kicking a ball in space. You keep squeezing, and that's the evolution here of going into smiley face two. Good. Take a break when you're ready. Nice. Good work, Janice. Okay, when you're ready, you can release blocks, bolsters, dowel. Whew. Take a moment. That was a lot of work on the core, just loading the fascia a little bit. Ah, knees just want to be bent, or legs might want to lengthen out. Ah, okay. If it feels okay, try lengthening the legs and just see how it feels. I want you to reach out through your heels. Arms can be out in line with shoulders. They can be up a little bit higher if you want. And I want you to reach up and out through arms and fingers and down through heels. Just find a little bit of tension, maybe even the hands coming into a soft fist. And then as you exhale, just let it go. Oh. Let's do that again. Reach down through heels, activate the legs, press the calves and the back of the thighs towards the floor. Slightly activate your arms, hands, and then let it go. Oh. If you want, you do it one more time, tension and release. So just tense, reaching up through heels, up through arms, create a little bit of tension, and you let go when you're ready. Ah, just take a moment just to rest. Legs can stay here. You can always bend them, put the feet on the floor again if you want. Just gonna take a moment. Hmm. Okay, so we're gonna allow the knees to bend. We're gonna roll over to one side, and then you're gonna push that top hand arm into the floor, and you're gonna come up. So we're going to take our bolster and we're going to go into the hip strengthening. So I like the bolster for this one. You don't have to use it. But if you do, we're going to go on right side first. So you're going to turn on your right side. And some of you can use the bolster to lean up and over. And you don't have to. You can be flat on the floor. So you can support head in the hands. Some of you may even find being on forearm and elbow works better. Yeah, there you go. Good. Hey, so left foot is going to go behind the right leg. Now you want to take your left leg and internally rotate it a little bit. So you want to point your knee forward. And then you want to roll back a tiny bit. So you can, your left hip is off the floor, but you want to roll back and kind of anchor more on the back of the glute. There you go. Your right leg will pop up, right? That's what we want. So then you're going to lift your lower belly, gather your rib cage, do a little SH breath, and then this right leg is going to lift up and down. Good. Good. As you do it, try not to move this left leg at all. Okay, keep lifting through lower belly. There it is. Yes. Inner thigh. There you go. Press the left foot into the floor like it's a standing foot. Good. One or two more breaths. Mhm. Good. Last one. Okay, then you're going to lower that down. You're going to take your bolster, slide it away. You can either use your arm for this one as well, and you're going to support your head down either on the floor or on the bolster. And this is when you can lean back a little bit. Okay, right leg is going to be heavy on the floor. You can even push your pinky toe, your fourth toe, your third toe a little bit into the floor of the right foot. Left leg's going to come up. You're going to extend it. You're going to shake it, shake it, shake it. We're going to take our arms, our hands, and just give that leg a tap all the way through the hamstring, the quad. Okay, so we did seesaw. This is three heel pose, so they're hip strengthening. So we did adductors, and now we're going to do abductors. Okay, so shake it out when you're ready. Now you're going to bend the knee. Now we want the knee pointing up towards the ceiling. It is on a little bit of a 45. Now connect into some lifting of the lower abs. So you're going to lift lower belly. You're going to find that SH breath. Feel a little containment happening in your torso. Now, this left leg with keeping a little bit of a bent knee, you're going to move the whole leg. So you're going to bring it down and then back up. Okay, down, keep lifting. Now, as you lower the leg down, it's really important that you keep lifting up on the transverse abdominis. You're going to want to let go and just kind of collapse. But as the leg lowers, lift up on the lower belly. Use an SH breath if you want. Shh. Good. Yes, you got it. Couple more. Stop if you need to. Nice. Nice and smooth. One last one. Now just release. Take a moment. Feel body. You roll onto your back. Now this you've got a bolster there, so you probably don't need it. Just pull it out. Take a moment. Feel the hips. Maybe even let the legs wiper a tiny bit from right to left. Ah. Okay, then we're gonna do other sides. We're gonna roll onto left leg. Okay, so I'm just flipping around. So we're taking the bolster if you want, tucking it under the ribs. Now you can either come down onto forearm. Some of you may find resting the head in the hand. Right foot is behind the left leg. Good. Now you want to take this right leg and angle it forward so the knee is pointing forward. And then you're going to roll the hips back so you can feel a little bit more weight coming on the right leg. Left hip is kind of anchored into the floor, and that left leg is popped up. Now reach a little bit through the heel, pull up through your core a little bit, and you're going to lift and lower that left leg up and down. Keep pressing right foot into the floor. There it is. Yeah. So one thing is you can feel it's like you're pulling it up towards you. There it is. Yeah. You're pulling it up towards you as if you have a little string on your inner ankle. There it is. Perfect. Sometimes we want to pull the knee and we want to move from the knee, but it's actually from inner thigh. Inner thigh. There it is. That changed it a little bit. Hey, we're gonna, yeah. Yeah. Hey, pause when you're ready. Okay, take the bolster if you want. Pull it down. This frees the shoulder. Just nice to have the shoulder just take some weight off of it. Okay, you can anchor that left foot if you want. You can roll back a little bit, extend that right leg. We're going to tap it and shake it. Good. When you're ready, you're going to allow that right knee to bend. Okay, there's just a little sinking through pelvis, and then you're lifting up through the lower belly, gathering the rib cage in. So there's a little containment. And then you're going to lift and lower the leg up and down while keeping the lower belly lifted. There you go. Okay, so you should feel core engagement the whole time. Something's gathering and anchoring in your transverse abdominis. I always like to press that left foot into the floor a little bit to help keep a connection of the muscles through the left leg, communicating with the left side of the pelvis. Good. You might do one or two or three more. Once you're ready, release. Roll onto your back, release that bolster out. Whew. Take a moment, maybe you lengthen the legs, maybe you bend the knees. Some of you may even want to bring the soles of the feet together and let the legs wiper out to the side. Okay, in a butterfly. So we did this seated, but you might even want to find it on the floor. Just take a moment. And we did a lot of inner and outer hip stability here. And just take another few more breaths, just to pause. When you're ready, if you've had your soles of your feet together like me and your legs out in butterfly, you're going to bring the inner thighs towards one another. You might bring the legs up into the chest, shake out the legs a little bit. Might hug them and just rock. Okay, we're going to end with our arm movement. So some of us have a few little 2-pound weights that we're using just to load the fascia a little bit more. This is when you would want to grab hold of them if you're using them. Hey, those of you that need a little bit of support behind your head, you might take a chip foam block and put it behind the head. I do invite you to bring either your block or your inflated ball and just pop it in between the thighs. Okay, just to have a little bit of containment of gently encouraging the awareness of the body. And if you're using your weights, you can. Okay, we're just going to bring the weights into hands if you're using them. If not, just the arms are out to the side. We're just going to bring back of the hands on the floor. I'm just creating a little bit of space for all my props around me. And so the weights are just resting in the palm of the hand, the back of the hands on the floor. Just let your hands and your fingers be nice and free. Just take a moment here, feel your feet, feel your breath. Take a few exhales out the mouth. Now we are going to go through the arm flow. We're going to do a lot of them. So at times, I will offer if your arms feel complete, you might not use the weights the whole time. Okay, so just don't want you to overload the body. So we're going to start with coming into Cobra Hood. This one's going to release side body, diaphragm, and the hip flexors, the psoas. So you're going to bring your arms up. You're going to bend the elbows. So the forearms are parallel to the body, and you can have the weights quite close together so that even they're touching. And you're going to squeeze the ball, press the feet into the floor. So there's a little gentle squeezing of the ball, and the rooting of the feet stay consistent. You're going to feel the back ribs rooting into the floor. You want to try to keep them on the floor. As you inhale here, you're going to exhale and you're going to extend the arms overhead so they lengthen. Your fingers are pointing towards the back wall or the weights. And you want to try not to lift your back ribs off the floor. So when you get here, you're going to press the back ribs, maybe even SH breath. And then as you inhale, your hands, your forearms, the weights come back to heart. Okay, so it's an extension, exhale, overhead. Keep pressing the shoulder blades, the ribs below the shoulder blades into the floor. And then inhale, back, elbows bend, hands, the weights come over torso. So we're just going to do that a couple times. So if you're using weights, you're just loading the fascia a little bit more. You can have the weights just leaning into each other. If not, I'll show it without as well. You can use the pads of the fingers and the thumbs into each other and just extend the arms overhead and back. Okay, the next time you come over heart, you're going to pause. And those of you that are just leaning thumbs and index, middle ring, pinky finger into each other are going to have the arms extended. Those of you using the weights, you're still having the weights leaning. You can even extend some of the fingers up if you want, as the index and thumb maybe hold the weight, and then you can lean the pinkies and the fingers into each other as you lower the arms down towards legs, up towards ceiling, and a little bit overhead. Okay, so this one's called chopping wood. So once again, when the arms go overhead, you want to try not to lift your back ribs up off the floor. So I'm doing this just to show you. So as you come into it, you want to try to keep the back ribs, squeeze the ball to help. Right, you got it. Mhm. Notice if one shoulder or shoulder blade is kind of working a little bit differently. And then when you're ready, you're just going to release arms down by your side. Now, this is when, if you feel, if you haven't used weights for a little bit, you might just let the weights go for this next part. Arms are out to the side, back of the hands are on the floor. Hey, if you want to keep using the weights for the next two, you can. I'm going to demonstrate it without. Okay, so you're going to bring arms up. Palms are going to face your legs. Okay, for those of you, if you're not using weights, even if you are, you can touch your thumb and your index to lean into each other, and the weight can just be kind of hanging in between the index and the thumb. The middle of the ring and the pinky finger are going to wiggle. So we're just connecting and leaning equally, index and thumb into each other to activate the muscles. So this is when we're loading them. And then you're going to open the arms out to the side. Now, when you go out to the side, you want to try once again not to lift the rib cage up off the floor. Right? And then you're going to bring the index and the thumbs towards one another. You only go as far as you can. Some of you can keep your head in center, or when you open your arms, you're going to turn your head to the side. And then when your head comes back into center, your arms follow. Okay, so we're loading already the fascia by finding a little activation through index and thumb. And some of us are using the weights to find a little bit more of activation through loading and allowing the fascia to reorganize. So this is helping front body engage muscles and fascia. And it's kind of like a nice little organization of the fascia when we have kind of it nice and fluid. Okay, you might do one or two or three more. Okay, then you're going to turn as the arms come back together, the palms to face one another, release the index and the thumb, and then turn the palms of the hands to face the wall behind you. So you can touch thumb to middle finger, thumb to ring finger. Relax the shoulders, heavy. Press the feet, squeeze the ball. And then you're going to once again open arms to the side. And then bring the pinky side of the hands back towards one another. Good. Check in. Do I want to turn my head one direction, then back, and then the other direction, and then back to center? Keep leaning the thumb and the finger into each other. If you've got thumb and ring finger, then you're kind of loading the muscles in the fascia that are connecting right into the shoulder blade. If you've got thumb and middle finger, you're connecting through the top of the shoulder all the way in through the neck to the ear. And that mudra, that hand gesture is really good also for tinnitus, the ringing in the ear. Just gonna do a couple more. Oh, nice. And then you're gonna pause and you're just gonna let your arms release. Okay, you can take out the ball, the block. You can extend the legs. You can go into a little bit of tension and release if you want. Mm. Create some tension, reach through the heels, let it go. Ah. Mm. Now ask yourself as you're resting here, is there anything else you need to complete your practice? So I just always like to give some time at the end of practice just for you to connect. So it might be a twist. You might even come up and maybe you want to go into some spinal waves or you want to push up into downward dog. Okay. Last week, we brought in the wave. And so we do have a little bit of time if any of you do want to end with the wave. If you're feeling good and you just want to be flat on your back, you can. But if some of you do want to come up onto the hands and knees, hands nice and wide, knees together, feet together, come back into this modified child's pose. Okay, I'll demonstrate it and then you can come and join me. You can feel the sit bones reaching down the back, rounding up, the hands pressing into the floor, and you come into plank on the knees. So this is where you start, and then you reach the pelvis back, you round up as you exhale your body. Inhale, exhale, come into plank. And you might do that a couple times, just rolling back and forth just to feel the spine. And then as you come into plank, you can keep the pelvis nice and strong. So try not to just let it go. Keep the sit bones wide, thighs internally rotating, lifting through lower belly, upper belly, heart, chest as you come into an upward dog. You got it. And then you round back. Okay, so just see if coming through plank and even opening the chest into an upward dog is yours. There you go. Nice. And then you roll back. There it is. And you might do that one or two more times. Exhale forward. And as you inhale, you lift through lower belly, upper belly, chest, heart. There it is. Good, Alexander. And then check in. Is there one, two more that you want to do? And pause in child's pose. See, do you want to roll back onto your back? Do you want to put your legs up the wall for a bit? Nice. Mhm. So just take your time there. Just coming back and revisiting body as we just end here our practice. So you might decide, oh, I just want to sit for the end of the practice, or you just want to lie down and put the bolster underneath the legs. We've got about 5 minutes here. Some of you have put the block or the bolster underneath pelvis and you've levitated your legs in the air. It's also another option. So it's really taking any shape that you want to end your practice. We're just taking this time to reconnect into body, to breath. Noticing as we do this, mindful awareness of body and breath. We opened the pelvis, we nourished the legs and the arms. We also brought a quality of spaciousness in between thoughts, calm the nervous system. So now you can feel your body, you can notice your breath, you can feel the sense of the skin, deeper felt sensations inside body. A few breaths out the mouth if you haven't taken any. Let this integration arrive. Mhm. We share a piece of poetry at the end of class. And this was one that I wrote, and it was just in the last newsletter that went out yesterday. Hello, body. I am here, listening. What do you need? Time slows as bracing patterns reveal themselves. It is safe. It is okay to release when you are ready. I am here, listening, holding you in love. I am here, listening, holding you in love. I'm just going to take another couple minutes here. Let your breath have its own rhythm where it's just breathing through you. It's in its autonomic function. It might be in and out of your nose. It might be in your nose and out your mouth. Ah. Thank yourself for being here today and creating this pocket of space. And not only reconnect into your body, but to nourish your nervous system, hydrate the fascia, and to release anything that was no longer needed to be held or carried or bound in the body or the mind. You take your time just to feel yourself as you are on the mat. Just let your awareness drop into your body and feel your breath. Watch it move in and out of the body through inhale and exhale. And you might wiggle the fingers a little bit, the toes. And you might move the arms and the leg. You might take a few more stretches or any other movement that resonates with you. And you'll roll over to a side when you're ready, so no rush. Arms. Once you come up or out to the side, now remember, you can just have your legs extended and wanting to come back, and you can take the hand to help and seat it and just slide it along the back of the thigh, and then you'll feel your sit bone, and then you just tug your sit bone back. Okay, and it will allow you, you can do it on both sides. Ah, sit a little bit higher, right? So it's kind of what the slow-mo ball does. And then you just are there. Okay, arms can be out to the side, palms face forward. We're going to take an exhale out mouth. Oh. And then press the pelvis, the sit bones into the floor. Let the arms inhale as you reach up. Maybe the palms turn towards themselves as they come forward. Touch the palms of the hands. And then as you exhale, draw a line down in front of your body. You feel that energy coming down and back in. And then notice, is there something that you want to inhale and cultivate or gather up that you're bringing in? And as the palms touch and you exhale and you draw a line in front of the face and the throat, receive it. Heart, belly, pelvis. And then do that one more time. Gather up what you need. And then this time we're just going to pause at heart. So as your arms come down and your hands, and you reach your sternum, your chest, you're just going to pause there. And some of you might just put your thumbs on your sternum and lift your sternum and your heart up into your thumbs. Relax the shoulders. Press the pelvis into the floor. Breathe. Feel the wholeness of yourself here. And let your breath expand you on the inhale and soften you on the exhale. If your eyes were lowered and closed, just let them open. If your head was bowed, lift it up. Mm. Thank you for your time, your energy, your presence. Mm.